not least, Roopa Kanal, who's going to be talking about the aftermath of an earthquake. Nepali artists respond.
Hi, everybody. I guess I'll just wait for Chili. I'll just put it here. Yeah. Thanks. I first want to say, of course, thank you for having the opportunity to present today. It's been a privilege. Also a little unusual for me. It's only my second in-person conference to present at, given the pandemic and everything. So I welcome such a wonderful group, and it's been very dynamic. I'm going to take us back to South Asia. Oops, sorry. Where we started, I guess, earlier today at one point. So on April 25th, 2015, an earthquake, the magnitude of 7.9, struck Nepal with aftershocks finally settling on May 12th. Particularly hard hit was the Kathmandu Valley, home to masterpieces of Hindu and Buddhist art and architecture, tracing the nation's political, religious, and cultural developments. Sure. Symbols of heritage, faith, and Nepali cultural identity were destroyed in the earthquake. Trauma research shows that displaced heritage or the loss of landmarks disorients and disturbs memories, impacting daily life, causing the loss of identity. The devastation of art and architecture in the Kathmandu Valley caused a deep sense of loss, destabilizing memories and identity of those living there. My presentation today and my research with the University of Victoria focuses on how Nepali contemporary artists responded to the crisis caused by the earthquake. I examine the artistic actions of Ashmina Ranjit, Bishan Rajbandari, and Sujan Chitakar as forms of cultural activism that facilitated mourning, healing, and recovery post-earthquake. The Kathmandu Valley is the political, economic, and cultural capital of Nepal, located at the nexus of two ancient trans-Asian trade routes. The Kathmandu Valley shared religion and culture with India across the Himalayas into China and Japan and westward. It's an epicenter for Hindu and Buddhist art and architecture, which is a significant part of the visual culture and intangible heritage for Nepalis living in the Kathmandu Valley. For example, the Kathmandu Valley is home to 7 UNESCO heritage sites containing hundreds of designated monuments. Many of these sites were actually just devastated by the earthquake. An eminent Nepali performance and mixed media artist, Ashmina Ranjit, lived close to one of the most heavily affected areas and heritage zones in central Kathmandu. On June 25th, 2015, Ranjit held Shma, or forgiveness, dreaming of a new Nepal. Ranjit's interpretation of Azama Puja, a healing ritual in Nepal's Nuari religious tradition. Dreaming of a New Nepal began as a procession, moving through central Kathmandu, stopping along the way at the significant temples, statues, and architecture that experienced a great deal of damage. The public was invited to a vigil held in Kathmandu Darbar Square that was akin to a ceremony. Attendees visited sites where damage occurred, performed poetry, music, and dance and paintings so they could express their sentiments. Over 500 people attended the 3-hour ceremony in effort to grieve. Dreaming of a New Nepal was a public, ritual-like community performance for healing and commemoration. The puja expressed Ranjit's personal sense of loss and devastation to the memories connected with the space, a sentiment shared by those living there. For those living there, the vernacular art and architecture was sacred and a part of their everyday lives. They were familiar with the legends and rituals and festivities held in central Kathmandu. As a bustling city center, they lived and worked among these historic art and architecture. Regular places of worship and aspects of daily life for residents had disappeared. The sense of place, connection, memory, and identity attributed to those sites by urban Nepali residents were disturbed with the destruction of their beloved symbols of faith and cultural heritage. Dreaming of a New Nepal was a ceremony for Ranjit and members of the community to reconnect with the space they call home through lost signifiers of their memories and heritage. Those in attendance communally mourned the loss, the first step on the path to healing. Anyone, regardless of religious or caste affiliation, was invited to attend. Dreaming of a New Nepal opened up the ancient ritual of puja to the public, allowing the public to claim and grieve the lost art and architecture of central Kathmandu. Dreaming of a New Nepal also brought people together, providing a moment to reflect communally on a shared experience of sorrow and confusion caused by a national traumatic event, offering a time for the community to mourn and console one another and to begin to confront the trauma and the loss. For almost 1,000 years, the Kaspandapa has stood in central Kathmandu. It is one of Nepal's oldest landmarks and earliest examples of wood and brick architecture, serving as a public hostel along the trans-Asian trade routes of Kathmandu. The Kaspandapa means wood pavilion, which gave Kathmandu its name. It's a symbol of the capital and the center of many religious and social practices, myths and legends evolving with the city over the centuries. The Kaspandapa temple was reduced to rubble as a result of the earthquake. Days following the earthquake, the artist and architecture student Bishan Rajbandari mobilized a team of friends and fellow art students to create a large-scale wall mural of the Kaspandapa. At a personal level, the Kaspandapa had a formative impact on Rajbandari's development as an artist, along with his religious affiliation as a Hindu. The devastation of the Kaspandapa displaced not only his cultural identity, but his sense of self. Memories for Rajbandari connected with the building and his life were damaged. Creating the wall mural was akin to creating an effigy, representing and returning the landmark to the landscape. Commemorating the building served to relocate the architectural landmark within the landscape, reorienting and restoring individual and collective memories associated with the Kaspandapa. It was an outward personal expression by the artist for a communal experience shared by residents of Nepal due to the destroyed landmark. Providing a large-scale image recreated the presence of a temple, restoring the missing building and a sense of place. Conceptually, restoring a vital symbol of Nepal's heritage offered a shared mechanism for coping with the devastation. In the spirit of socially responsible art activities that define the artist and professor's career, Sujan Chitrakur, he responded to the earthquake through a community art project. Shortly after the earthquake, Chitrakur organized a team of 90 volunteers comprised of students and colleagues to participate in a community art project entitled Rebuilding Bungamati. The project recognized a smaller but vital heritage community in need of relief from the earthquake. Chitrakur led the team in a reconstruction project of Bungamati, a 14th century old town known for its architectural heritage further south of Kathmandu. The town of Bungamati was home to centuries-old residences and temples. Known for its wood carvers and metal artisans, their work was evident in the artwork and the architecture present throughout the town. In rebuilding Bungamati, Chitrakur had volunteers work with wood carvers and metal artists to recover, identify, and piece together debris significant for rebuilding. Participants engaged across generations of artists, castes, class, and urban and rural society. The project gave agency to many community groups, an important aspect of cultural activism and community art. For the residents of Bungamati, they engaged with their vernacular heritage, the cultural markers of their identity. It was an intentional and concerted effort by Chitrakur to repair damage caused by the earthquake and reorient the community to the landscape and their lost heritage. The project was a form of cultural activism centered in the resilience found in Nepal's art and heritage and the relationships formed through the art activities. It aimed at recovery and healing from the devastation caused by the earthquake, as well as that of inclusivity, empathy, and social cohesion, a broader socio-political concern of the time which was needed for the country to recover after the earthquake. So at the conference, we have asked if art can be therapeutic in a time of crisis. Ranjit, Rajbandari, and Chitakar, they call the Kathmandu Valley home. After the trauma of the earthquake, the artwork of Ranjit, Rajbandari, and Chitakar reflexively tapped into identity and memory to serve therapeutically to facilitate coping. Ranjit, Chitakar, and Rajbandari's artwork reconnects to their cultural identity, finding resilience in their heritage, serving as mechanisms to aid healing. And at the conference, we've also asked, how can art help make sense of a major historical crisis? In Nepal, there's a concept of Jinabad, or renewal. The artwork examined here, created in response to the devastating earthquake, provided a narrative of hope for recovery and rebuilding in order to move forward. Thank you.